Hello and welcome back. It's time for day 10 for 12 days of anime, and today I'm gonna talk about one of the animes of this season, which is Juni Taisen, or the Zodiac War. Some of you may know of this anime. It's a very action-based anime of 12 episodes. Not the best anime you're gonna come across this season, but it does provide some entertainment, over the season if you don't have enough to watch and whatnot, depending on your personal preferences with genres and stuff like that. But one of the most basic things about this anime that really puts a lot of people off is the fact that it resembles the Fate series a lot. You have this whole tournament of a select amount of participants, and they have to kill each other, and the winner gets a wish, whatever that may be. It's supposedly limitless, I guess. And in that regard, you really get these really strong vibes that this is going to be kind of a rip-off of the Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night kind of anime, and it does really to some extent. I mean, yes, the winner does get a wish at the end. It's not quite the same. I mean, you don't like summon your servant or whatever they call it in the Fate series. In this case, it's more like you fight yourself. So there is a danger element to the actual user, not just the spirit or whatever it is that I call them. And throughout the anime's run, you experience death, you experience backstory, the typical things with an anime of this genre. It's not really for children, and it's not for everybody. Let's just say that, because it's it's not fast paced, because the entire anime takes place in only 12 hours, I think, at least the first 11 episodes. And because of the fact that they want to really fit as much backstory into each episode as they can, it becomes very lacking in the fighting department, in my opinion. Whenever somebody died, it would always be very quick and very sudden. It wouldn't really be much of a fight, to be honest. It would be more of a slaughter, okay? Whoever was the stronger would just completely dominate their opponent. Like, I remember that happening a bunch of times, and that is something that I really didn't like about this anime. Like, I prefer action animes where the said fighters actually have an actual battle, where there isn't really someone who is just so dominant that they will just completely destroy their opponent in a matter of seconds. And that's kind of what happened in this anime a lot. Not every single fight, but a lot of them definitely had that recurring theme. Now, one of the other things that really puts a lot of people off, this didn't really put me off, but I do know it put a lot of people off while I was reading in the Crunchyroll comment section, and that's the animation of this series. It starts off really rich and it's not that special. It's kind of basic, animation, but along the way you start to see how the quality drops at first. Just the general quality of the animation just becomes weaker and weaker, but then after a while it changes again, and you have CGI being put into the mix. So it feels like when making this anime, they couldn't really decide how are we gonna animate this, so they just tried a bunch of things throughout the whole anime. And because of the fact that the animation style changes so many times in just 12 episodes, it really becomes this thing where a lot of people doesn't really like it, because it can be immersion breaking and whatnot. Like I said, to me, this didn't really end up being a problem. I didn't really notice it to that extent. I mean, yes, I did notice the changes, but it didn't really break my immersion. I can definitely see why people would find the whole CGI addition to be a problem, because you have like a number of episodes with absolutely no CGI, and then suddenly you have a lot CGI happening. Like, it's not gradual at all. It just goes from a 0 to 100 really fucking fast in terms of quality changes. And I'm not that much of a anime watcher, so I'm sure there are other animes that does this as well. I haven't really run into the same problem before, so I guess I'm fortunate about that. I mostly read manga nowadays rather than actually watching anime. But the ending of this story is also something that really bothered me personally. I think a lot of people liked it. I did not, because the whole series is about winning this tournament, and yes, somebody wins, but it's not really in the way that you hope it to be, because you have this whole build up with one of the big baddies, one of the strongest opponents that they have in this whole game, and whenever the time comes, he's killed off, and it's not really done correctly in my opinion. He doesn't really live up to his hype at all. He's just kind of killed off, and yes, he's not really defeated after he dies. I mean, you kind of have to watch the anime to understand, but he's still down for the count in one way or another. And and then we have this guy who just comes out of nowhere winning the tournament. I mean, the way he won was very much explained in the 2 final episodes, but it doesn't really justify the series in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna agree with me that the animation was a slight problem, but maybe, I don't know if a lot of people will agree with me that the ending was a problem, because we did kind of get to see, what everybody would have wished for if they had been the winner. I guess that was a nice touch. That part wasn't really a problem. It's just the fact that the ending of the actual tournament was a problem for me. So the final episode didn't really have a problem with that. It's just the whole conclusion to the Juni Taisen game, as they call it, the Zodiac War. But the biggest issue with this anime, and it's kind of close to the ending, but it's still a bit higher in the bad list. There's too much backstory. Like I said, there's a mixture of combat and backstory, and the backstory is just too much. It's way too much, okay? Because you cannot fit that much backstory in 12 episodes. They even failed to add some backstory for the main antagonist of this whole anime, which I found to be a really bad thing, because that's actually the one thing that I wanted to find out about, what was his past like. You get a lot of other people's backstory, but his backstory is never really revealed, and that is something that I really found to be, a bummer. It's not like I want to punch the screen or anything, it's not that bad, but I just found it to be a real big bummer, because he was so hyped up, not only was he defeated in a shit way, but he was also left without any sort of background. You don't get any backstory about him at all. But yeah, that's really all I had to say about this anime, Juni Taisen. I'd love to know what you think about this anime down in the comments if you've seen it, and if you plan to watch it. It's not a bad anime as a whole, it's just that it's not really outstanding, it's not perfect. It's still watchable by all means, so if you intend to watch it, this video should not serve as a warning to not watch this anime. Just be prepared for some radical changes in animation, and the ending may or may not be to your liking. Anyway, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host Perm, and I will see you next time.